Hello, welcome into OneQi. This is our YouTube channel where we showcase the teachers that are part of our OneQi hub. And I have with us here a new recruit, so to speak. Ruth Summers is with us. She's a senior tutor at the British Academy of Sound Therapy. She's a Tai Chi and Qigong instructor and a stained glass artist. So welcome indeed to OneQi, Ruth.
Thank you, Clara. Nice to be here. Thank
Yeah,
you.
indeed. No, really great. So we're going to be asking you about your Qigong journey here. So how did you first find Qigong or how did it find you?
Yeah, so I was always into sort of energy-based practices in terms of sort of yoga, things like that, back in the early 90s. And I was actually introduced to it sort of via a friend. I was doing a lot of African drumming and lots of other things were going on. And this guy was also a Tai Chi Qigong, mainly Tai Chi teacher. So I thought I'd have a little look and explored that avenue, and studied Yang style 37 form. Went off and sort of went quite deep with that quite quickly. Got really hooked in with that very much. I was amazed at just after the first session how I felt both massively grounded and expanded at the same time, and that it just blew me away after my first session. It's like I need more of this. So yeah, I went down that route, and I went off to study the sword form as well, sword 42. Yeah, got really into it. Yeah.
So that was your Tai Chi journey. So where did the Qigong come in?
So the Qigong came from that. So I wanted to know more about what the health benefits were, what was behind all of that basically. So I went off to study medical Qigong, finding out more about traditional Chinese medicine, a bit more about the meridian channels. Actually discovered, what a dantian actually was, and then from there, I really got to understand that it wasn't just the warm up at the beginning of the Tai Chi. It's a beautiful practice in itself, and I think the simplicity of Qigong drew me into that. So I went more deeply into the Qigong kind of way of things. And I think for actually teaching it as well, it's more of an instant access to the health benefits for people. I think it's sort of you can tap into it a lot quicker.
You
Yeah,
don't need to learn it, do you? So
that's it. Yeah, which can take a long time. And some people, I witnessed that as a student. People would come as beginners and then would drop off. The percentage rate of drop offs was quite high, and people were feeding back that it was because of the how much you had to remember. But with qigong you can keep it quite simple, repeat sometimes the same movements, and tap into things more. Kind of, it can be more bespoke, for health needs. Yeah.
sure. So what is it that you love about Qigong then?
I think, again, really the simplicity of it, um, how you can practice it just anywhere, literally, just seated, even just the observation of your breath. Yeah, the simplicity of it, I think, and the how easy it is for people to pick up on just a couple of movements and take those elements home with them. Yeah, the instant access to it. Yeah.
Sure. So do you follow any sort of lineage form? You mentioned medical Qigong. Is that a lineage or?
The way I was taught medical qigong was it was inspired by many different lineage. I studied a lot of the dragon and tiger form as part of that, as well as shibasha, um, as well. So different lineage, of course, with both of those. And I also went on to study from there Badra Jin, dragon and tiger. I've mentioned, many other forms, six healing sounds, macro, micro, cosmic orbit, all of those beautiful classics. But yeah, no specific lineage as such, but I have followed lineage separately, um, in their own kind of right as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Is letting the lineage forms inform, you say, the medical qigong, so that the Badwan Jin is a classic, isn't it? And
Yeah, Yeah.
There's different versions of that too, aren't there? And I know
Yes.
another
Yeah.
member of our OneQi community here, I think it's Nicola Lee, who is particularly interested in all the different forms of Jin.
Yeah.
So when you
Yeah.
talk about lineage form, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because that's obviously informing all of the Qigong that we have now, and
Yeah.
we research it back, and it's just a beautiful history exercise, but also an energetic exploration. But really, what you're saying is, what is it like here and now? How can
Mm.
this make sense for my energy in the here and now? So,
Yeah.
how do you, what do you feel Qigong has really done for you? You know, what have you gained the most from your Qigong practice?
I think tuning into many things within myself. So where I'm at any given time. So if I'm noticing I'm stressed, the it gives you the ability to be aware of your physicality, relaxed or not, sort of with the breath. Where my energy is, if I sense it rising up with, when things are a bit stressy, if I'm overthinking things, it makes it easier to tap into and switch that when you've got that awareness with it. I think that's one of the biggest things is yeah, checking in on the self and rectifying that if you need to, kind of on the fly, or actually taking a big chunk of time out and going, right, okay, this is my prescription for myself. Yeah.
Isn't it ever your personal medicine, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, you can take it anywhere you go, but it's that also that internal awareness of when you do feel things are getting a bit that when they're getting
Yes.
that you can do something about it. You can presence yourself
Yeah.
within your dantians, within your breath, within your
Hmm.
being, and know that you can adjust or you can work with what needs to happen to help come back to balance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm.
So if you had 2 minutes to share something with us from a Qigong perspective, which you do, by the way, what what would that be? What would you like to share with us?
I think, as I'm very into simplicity, it would just be abdominal breathing,
Okay.
the awareness of the breath, and so stripping it right back. You don't even need the movement, the nagung kind of element of it. So having the awareness of where the breath is, again, at any given moment. Um, and so I can do this exercise with you very briefly, if that's all right.
Love you too.
Fabulous. Okay. So we can begin just by putting one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly, and just really just observing where the breath is in this moment, and not kind of judging it in any way. There's no right or wrong. It's just purely an observation, and just noticing if one hand is moving more maybe than the other, might be about the same, and just kind of feeling where that is. So just observing for a few breaths. And I think right now, mine is actually fairly even between the chest and the belly. And what we can do as well as having that awareness, so we can encourage more abdominal breathing with that, if we're aware that, yeah, maybe I could breathe a little bit more into the belly. So it's about relaxing the chest and softening the belly, encouraging the breath to flow down more deeply, feeling that pulse of the breath. But also, another thing that we can do, sometimes we're not aware of what it feels like if we're kind of in fight or flight mode, or if we're in sort of more of a relaxed state when we're breathing into the belly. So, what we can do, another little exercise to become aware of how that feels for us, is to, as you're sort of, again, just being aware of your breath, just taking your mind to a really joyful, beautiful, wonderful experience that you might have had in your life, in your past. Now, that could be falling in love, passing an exam, just a really beautiful moment that you had with a friend. Maybe you're out in nature and you were just feeling at one, whatever that is for you. Just tuning in to how that felt, and kind of feeling that feeling in this now moment. and just multiplying that feeling, feeling it through the body, through the energy, physically, just noticing how that feels. And then just for a very brief few moments, just take your mind to maybe something that you saw on the news um, that maybe caused a little bit of stress. So just go there just very briefly, just noticing what that stressful thing, that not very nice thing that you may have seen, just seeing how that feels through the body. We won't stay there long, but just feeling how that changes the system in any way. And then once you've noticed that change, then coming back again to that wonderful, joyful feeling. And just again noticing if there's a shift through the breathing, through the body, energetically. Again, just going back to that wonderful feeling, breathing it in throughout the whole body. And what most people experience, and not everybody, everyone's different, but the majority of people find that when they're in kind of flow, thinking of that nice, beautiful, wonderful experience, often the breath just automatically drops to the belly and there's a sense of openness, expansion. And when we have that stressful thought, there's a tightening, I always feel it as like a sense of feeling lifted. The breath comes up into the chest, all of that tension. And when we come back again to that relaxed place, the breath drops down. Now, I know it seems weird to want to go to a stressful thought, but what that exercise does is it allows you to feel what that's like in the body.
Yeah.
And then once you've got that awareness, if you're having a stressful time, you're thinking, actually, oh gosh, yes, I'm up here, then you can go, okay, so let's just shift, let's change that, how that feels, and come back to that belly breathing. So yeah, it shows how our thoughts can completely change our physiology. All of the stress hormones flying around when we're breathing up here, and when we change our thoughts, literally when we change our thoughts, we change our chemistry,
Yeah.
and our breathing. To me, that's having that awareness, and also how it feels to do abdominal breathing. If you can take that into all of your practice, that sense of openness, expansion, I think can shift your practice to make it a lot deeper, a lot quicker.
Right.
Yeah, I think
But
that's
also,
what
it
it's
gives you tools to manage your life because even just having your hand on
exactly.
your body, that's reassuring.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what I found interesting when you said to go to a news item and something flashed up, I could feel the response to that, but I could also feel that peaceful calm of joy as well. I thought,
wonderful.
it's not one or the other. It's being in that presence of being and then being able to manage what's coming at us from
Yes,
that perspective. So that was really interesting. Thank you.
wonderful. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
It's so great that you're part of OneQi and
great
wow.
to be here.
Welcome in, exactly. And if anyone wants to find out more about you, then go to oneqi.org and all Ruth's information is there, along with all, she's also done a OneQi radio with me as well. So that is in the archives for us to share with you too, where we talk about sound healing and Qigong, because that's possibly your favorite topic, right?
Or both together. Yeah, I love it. I could talk all day about
That's
both.
what I mean. So we'll do that again. So till the next time, thank you so much for being
Thank you.
part of OneQi. Yay.